I, like you and everyone else, heard that Sinners was good. Like so much so that I actually went to the theater to see it, and I don't go to the theater for many movies. But it wasn't just the hype that made me go check it out. It was the rumors of it involving hoodoo and being such a good story. I personally enjoy things that incorporate different aspects of spirituality, especially bringing those types of things to the mainstream. So after my recap, I will include a spiritual analysis as well, so make sure you stick around for that. So Sinners was set in Clarksdale, Mississippi in the 1930s. It's a story about the Stack Smoke twins, or the Smoke Stack twins, and their journey to running a juke joint, which involved their cousin Sammy singing and playing the guitar. So the thing about Sammy is he had a great voice, like a powerful, magical voice. Sammy's voice had a power within bringing the real world and the spiritual world closer together, like thinning that veil, as they say. People were captivated and some really proud because they knew him as a child. But again, it wasn't just the people who were captivated. Sammy had summoned some other creatures with his singing too, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Now, one interesting thing about this movie is that all of this action, all 2 hours and 17 minutes of it, happened in like 2 days, mostly in one though. Let me explain. So we start off with a flashback of Sammy bursting through the church doors looking crazy. Then we flash back to the beginning of how that started. Stack went to go pick Sammy up and take him on the road in pursuit of making this juke joint that I mentioned earlier. At first, Stack didn't even know that Sammy could sing until he started singing in the car on the way there. And by the way, this is after Sammy had a conversation with his father about the dangers of secular music, basically. He did not want his son out there doing exactly what he did, singing secular music and getting deeper into sin. So after disregarding his father's message, they get to a town where we see exactly what type of attitude Stack has when he shoots a man in the knee. This right here is after he teaches a little girl how to bargain, so he has a heart for children at least. I mean, you could tell the little girl was nervous speaking to him, but he was teaching her something. It was a cute little moment. In this little town is where he picks up another band member, and it is revealed that Stack is a player. A young lady of a rather fair complexion approached him all huffy about how he effed and left. And I say fair skin because she was quite white passing, and back then black men got in trouble for stuff like that.
I love you, Stack. Why you don't want to be with me, Stack? I love you. Why you can't just... You're white. Mixed with a half a quarter dash of black. It is 1932 and Jim Crow. It's in its LeBron James prime. You're insane, sister.
This is also the setting in which we're introduced to the Chinese couple Bo and Grace Chow. They help Stack with a sign and other supplies for the night soiree, and they also have a daughter who works their business when they leave. So apparently, the Chinese community was closely tied to the black community in this area of Mississippi by owning stores in their area, which isn't completely shocking because it's similar to today, how we have many black communities where there are Asian owned stores. I don't know if they're predominantly Chinese or not, but they own restaurants and many black beauty supply stores. So Sammy, Stack, and Slim head to another place where they find another old friend literally working in the field. They get him to come on the road with them to help with the juke joint, and the four of them make it there the same day, of course. So apparently, whatever town Sammy was from wasn't far. By the time they leave with their bandmates, they have just about everything set up and it's almost time for the party. Before we get to the actual party, we see two important things happen, okay? Annie and Smoke's relationship, for one. They had a child together that passed away. He's also gone a lot. They basically have a long distance relationship at this point. But the love scene with Smoke and Annie is what I believe introduced the whole hoodoo aspect to the story. She makes him mojo bags, and of course they believe that this is what's keeping him safe through his travels and everything and all the things that they do, him and his brother. I actually love the scene of her blessing his mojo bag again. I felt like it was such an act of care and it made me feel all fuzzy inside. Not saying that's how I define black love as a whole, but I hope you get where I'm going with that. It was nice, cute, good representation. Also, another important thing is in another scene, they show a man burning up, okay, knocking at a couple's door to be let in so he could hide from the group of people that did that to him, was his story. Now, this guy is definitely weird, okay, weird vibe. I mean, he's burning. His skin is literally burning, but I mean, it's up to whether or not the couple believes his story. And they did, and they let him in. Then this group of other creepy people come looking for the burning guy, and they try to warn the lady and the man about what they just let in. Again, they're creepy too, okay? But I did feel at the time of watching that they were the good people. And I was right. Turns out the burning guy was a vampire and ends up turning the husband and wife into vampires with him. Now, I honestly kind of understand why they let him in. Hear me out. They wanted to help. And that's great. And, he told them that people did that to him. And I mean, what else could they conclude about why his skin is burning? Okay, they definitely weren't thinking that a vampire had popped up on their porch. And I think that's logical. Now, I don't think I would have let him in still, but I can understand why they did. So, fast forward to the party where they have their plan, they have their staff, they have the people, everyone's jamming. Another important part happens when they talk about the power of music, and they go through this wonderful mix of beats, some rather familiar, to paint the picture of how music changed throughout time but started with the blues. They had cultural and popular sounds involved and the dances to go with them. The camera was panning around the room, showing us different eras as the sounds changed and merged. It was a chaotic and beautiful scene, and one of my favorites in the whole movie. Very artistic, very educational even, and just cool to watch. Ludwig Göransson, who is the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, Tame Impala, was responsible for the soundtrack of this movie, so I love that. Now let's snap back into reality because we're in the middle of a black vampire story here. So eventually, Miss Mary, the white woman that Stack is trying to hide, shows up at the juke joint door. This is a small town type of thing, okay? So everyone knows everyone. The guy at the door recognizes her and lets her in. So we're going to skip over to the whites coming to jam, okay? These are the same people as before, the burning man, the husband and the wife that got turned into vampires. It's all three of them now. They approach the door and they sing a little song, and the people like the song. However, they are still denied entry because it's just too risky. So they walk off all sad. Now, their white sister Mary, and I'm calling her white because she said her father was part black, okay? So she's actually more white than she is black, and that's okay. That's okay, but I'm gonna talk my this is the 1930s here. So Mary goes back outside to speak with her kinfolk, and y'all are about to see why I'm being so hard on her. She goes and has another conversation with them to see if she can make some money from them. Yes, in efforts to help Stack, but I don't remember him telling her to do that. Y'all can correct me if y'all want to in the comments. I think she volunteered. So she's talking to them, and it's nice until it's not. Once the combo gets weird, she turns her back to leave, and then the scene cuts. Okay, that was the moment she got, and she was the first one out of the crew. Now, this is how the main characters and the black people start to get infiltrated. Now, one thing you need to know about these vampires and many other dark entities is that they do need your permission to enter your space. Now, that might sound weird to you. Like, you might be thinking, why would an evil entity ask to come in, and why would I allow it? I get it, but consider that these entities are very deceitful. Okay, you may not even know that you're speaking to one, and they casually ask to come in. People mistakenly let them in, not knowing what they are because they appear human. Just like earlier, the burning man had to ask permission before he entered their home. Well, Miss Mary had to do the same thing. After she was bitten, she went back to the front door and she asked the same guy who let her in before to let her back in. And of course, he thought it was strange, but it was Mary, so he let her in. Very shortly after that, she found Stack, okay, and very easily seduced him to go in a room with her for hanky-panky, and unbeknownst to him, to be bitten and turned into a blood-sucking demon. So that's exactly what happened. When everyone else finds them, there's blood everywhere. Smoke shoots Mary. She then gets back up and runs out of the building like the rabid freak she's become. They end up locking Stack in that same room they found him in because they know that once he wakes up, he's going to be a new creature. When he does, he ends up running out of the building as well. I mean, a few things happened before that, but I do want y'all to see the movie, so I'm leaving out enough details. So now it's out there. Something is severely wrong with Mary and Stack, obviously. So everyone left, bands together, except Bo and Grace Chow, who are planning to leave. Bo stupidly goes outside to the car. Y'all already know what happens to him, but we don't actually find out until a few moments later. So again, everyone plans to stay inside until daylight, which is an adequate plan until Grace starts going crazy because the vampire threatened to go after her daughter and her husband is still not back. She really turns the whole movie around and F stuff up for everyone. She's ready to go down with a fight and she yells for the vampires to come in. And now we have a pretty cool fighting scene. Okay, everyone gets bitten except Smoke and Sammy, but the way that they get out of it is so crazy. And you know what? I'm gonna stop right there. You can watch the movie to see exactly how they get out of that crazy situation. Now, to get to these spiritual comparisons. By the way, if you are enjoying this, please like the video. I would love that. Smoke and Stack, the voodoo connection they ain't tell you about. Let's dive in voodoo style because, baby, the twins and sinners got some heavy energy on them. Real familiar if you know about Papa Legba and his twin Met Cafu. See, in Haitian voodoo, Legba and Cafu run the crossroads. They decide who can pass between this world and the spirit world. No move gets made without them. Same thing in Sinners. Smoke and Stack run the juke joint, that wild meeting ground where the human and the supernatural start to mix. That juke joint is a crossroads. Music, spirits, temptation, deals, you name it, it go down there. They are the gatekeepers to something bigger, something older. Smoke carries that Legba energy, that sunrise spirit. He's the light bearer trying to guide his people back to their roots through music, community, and family. He's about healing and opening doors. Stack, though, that's where Cafu steps in. Cafu's the wild one, the night crossroads, where if you don't know what you're doing, you get snatched up. After Stack gets tempted into vampirism, he ain't just wild, he's unpredictable and dangerous. But it's still love. He's still tied to Smoke, just like Cafu is still tied to Legba. Two sides of the same spirit. Choice, power, access, consequences. That's what they both represent. That's what crossroads are all about. Bloodlines, sin, redemption, Smoke trying to lift the family name, hold the community down, Stack out here carrying the pain, the wounds nobody wanted to face. And until both sides get honored, until the crossroads get respected, ain't no bloodline ever really free. You might think you're only calling on Legba, but trust, Cafu's hearing you too. You might think you're just walking the day road, but somewhere the night road is crossing up under your feet. Together, they are totality, the light and the dark, the open road and the hidden one. You gotta face both if you want to move forward. But yeah, you guys, my microphone died at the end of my video, so that's why I'm just going to finish off with this audio here. That passage is by a Lemonade profile called The Hidden Porch, which has a lot of spiritual information on it, mostly geared towards Afrocentrism, but you can find information about other cultures there as well. Really cool page. Check that out if you have the Lemonade app. As familiar as I am with Papa Legba, I have never heard of Mekafu. So y'all let me know, am I alone in that or what? Have you ever heard of him? This is my first time, so I did my little research as well. It was very hard to like find a picture of him when I Googled. I had to like go on Instagram and just come up with a few things to kind of depict what he might look like. You know, it's a very red and black thing going on here. But some pictures that I found of him look just like Papa Legba, so it's a little confusing. But he does exist in the hoodoo voodoo realm. Also, it's being said that Sammy is being compared to Robert Johnson, who's a man who's rumored to have sold his soul for musical talent and fame, basically. And I can see that. I mean, even though Sammy ended up running back to the church at the end of the movie, he still was a singer, had interest in doing secular music, went out to experience that, was faced with a whole bunch of temptation. And at the end of the movie, when Sammy's an old man, it's like he's still singing. So I can definitely see that comparison there as well. I think it's pretty cool. This was a good movie, you know? It definitely deserves all the love that it's getting. And looking back, if I had to say if it was anybody's fault why this happened the way it did, it's two people for me. It's Mary, because she was the first one bitten, going out there being fast, trying to talk to them people, okay? And then I would have to say Grace, because they could have just stayed in the building until the morning time, but she had to call them in because she was being all emotionally crazy and everything. So yeah, definitely willing to pin this on Grace and Mary. Mary first though. And as far as Grace's husband, Bo, I don't know why he thought it was a good idea to go out to the car at night. I just don't know what he was thinking. Like, as soon as that scene happened, I feel like everyone already knew what was about to happen to him. it was just a very interesting decision. I feel like the movie could have stayed the same if he would have been in the building with him, because Grace could have still went crazy because the vampires threatened her daughter, you know? So I don't know. I just feel like that was very dumb. This movie was so thrilling, so historical, so spiritual, so religious, inclusive, even. And what I mean by inclusive is, again, actually displaying music from around the world and not just from the black community, which would have been okay. But there was a part where the Irish vampires, which I didn't actually know they were Irish until they started singing their little river dance song. I don't know if it was a river dance, y'all. That's just what I say. They started doing the little leprechaun leg movements and everything. Not calling him a leprechaun, just saying the little dance that he was doing reminded me of that, which isn't a bad thing to me. So please. So yeah, whenever they were doing like the Irish folk music song outside, like all the vampires banded together and did a little number, it actually sounded really good. You know, I don't hear music like that all the time. And it sounded really good. I had to like stop myself from moving my shoulders in enjoyment. And for a second there, I wondered if I was an Irish woman in a past life. Or an Irish man. But yeah, that little river dance slap, that was a bop. Other than that, check out the movie. Like I said, I told you guys a lot, but I also left out enough for you to still enjoy it. Feel free to report back to the comment section and let me know what you think of my recap. Thank you so much for listening and being here with me today. Subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you next recap.